Hi, my name is Jane Friedman, and I'm here to talk about why authors are the most powerful marketing tool you have. Authors are the best advocates for their ideas and for their books. Their energy and knowledge are critical for building an engaged and long-lasting readership. Samuel Johnson is often considered the first modern author, meaning he was the first author to subsist on book sales rather than patronage. Since Johnson, authors have had as much of a stake as publishers in the financial success of their books. And when we look at some of the most successful authors in history, we see that they're often innovators in how the business has evolved or how it's been conducted. Mark Twain, for instance, went against the grain of society and had his book sold by traveling salesmen door to door when it was considered very degrading to authors to do so. And he was successful with that strategy, and of course even more successful on the lecture circuit. And Dickens, too, as I'm sure you're all very aware, was strategic in producing his work to heighten fan loyalty. Unfortunately, throughout publishing history, the number one complaint that authors have is related to their publishers, usually the marketing and promotion support that they receive. And of course, publishers see how authors behave very differently than how authors see their own behavior. Now, to be fair, this situation or these attitudes, it's not necessarily the publisher's fault. It's a mix of misplaced expectations on the author's part and poor communication on both sides. G.H. Putnam wrote one of the most important books on the publishing business in the late 19th century, at a time when author vitriol was at an all-time high, perhaps even higher than it is today when you look at certain facets of the author community. He wrote that the disconnect was because authors simply didn't understand the making and selling of books or their own rights and obligations. Arguably, this is still the case today. Now, why over 100 years hasn't this problem been solved, and does it have to be this way? Especially in the digital age, why is it still this way? Bob Stein, who is from the Future of the Book Institute, who you may know, has spoken and written at length about the collaborative future at hand and how this is what we're all moving toward. Self-publishing authors in particular have already learned this lesson, particularly those working in commercial fiction. Now, while their tone can be abrasive and unproductive, particularly in the online setting, with each other their attitude is very collaborative, and they educate each other and share resources. I've spent 15 years working in traditional publishing, and I was the publisher of Writer's Digest, which specializes in educating the author community. I help authors through online classes and one-on-one consulting. And regardless of how they publish or how long they've been in the industry, they're all looking for the same things, which I would boil down to first, partner communication, second, tools and education, and third, collaboration and support. First, when it comes to partner communication and support, what do you tell the author about their book's marketing and promotion plan? How transparent are you about what will or won't happen? Is there a baseline guide that everyone receives? Are authors given specific information about what they can do to make their book a success, regardless of what you, as the publisher, plan on doing? And are there expectations being set very early in the process so they don't end up disappointed or confused, especially when it's too late for them to do anything? We know that publishers do a lot to support the books they publish, but authors rarely see or understand what's happening, and you need a systematic way of telling them. Treat them as business partners who can understand and then plan accordingly. Second, are you giving authors the tools and education they need to understand how to best market and promote their work regardless of what you do? If authors need to learn a skill, do they have to find the right resources themselves? And this is particularly important if you're telling authors in a kind of offhanded way, yeah, you need to do social media, you need to be on Facebook, you need to have a website. How do they learn to do those things? Where do they go next to understand best practices? What basic education can you provide, whether through online tutorials, private events, handbooks? One of the biggest problems authors have is knowing who they can trust to give them high-quality, usable information that's not going to somehow set them back. Publishers are in an excellent position to do this, so proactively show authors how they can become better advocates for their own work. And then third, collaboration and support. Every publisher has a community of authors that can learn from one another and share strategies, tools, and resources. Are you helping your authors collaborate with one another? Are you offering them better ways to connect with each other and cross-promote, and how can you encourage this knowledge sharing? If authors are indeed the #1 most powerful marketing tool, then look at your staff and ask, whose job is it to offer author support and assistance so they can better spread word of mouth? I don't think this person is a publicist or an editor. It's probably someone in marketing, but someone whose focus is really solely improving the power and collaboration of the author community. By doing this, you can increase your book sales and you can increase author satisfaction. And best of all, you can represent an engaged and smart community that every author wants to be a part of. Good luck.